Welcome to 2020. Tonight, we're going to take you to a mysterious island. Almost no one knows where it is, but millions of people have become obsessed with what's going on there. I'm talking about ABC's new hit show, Lost. Elizabeth went to the island and talked to the cast and creators about the season's TV phenomenon.
John, Lost is more than a surprise hit. Many fans are not just watching every episode, they're looking for hidden clues and talking incessantly with each other on the internet. How did this hit show come together, and why has Lost found such a fervent following so fast? I went to where the action is to discover the lost secrets. This story takes place in a tropical paradise, but there are some dramatic wrinkles. There's an angry polar bear and a seething love triangle or two. There's an invisible monster and a plane crash that's left 48 survivors stranded together on a very unusual island.
Guys, where are we?
If you haven't been watching the series television critics call the next great cult pop sensation, this is a chance to catch up and catch on. If you're already a fan, this is a closer look at some lost secrets, things you may have seen but not noticed. Lost's editors and producers are putting together the season finale on a program that's gone beyond hit to cultural phenomenon. The show averages more than 15.5 million viewers each week and spawned countless web locations where millions of avid fans can obsess about the show's secrets. Like, where is this mysterious island? Some guess they're trapped in the Bermuda Triangle. Another leading theory says they're all dead and in purgatory.
Purgatory one is a great one. I love that theory, but it isn't what it is. I'd be frustrated if that were the answer, I gotta say.
Why?
Well, it has a tinge of it was all a dream. It sort of feels a little like...
Do you think people would feel cheated if it turns out just to be a dream or
You know what,
purgatory?
again, I don't know if people would. I would, though.
So they're not in purgatory, and it's not a dream. And there is, producers say, a logical explanation for everything.
Run!
To them, the biggest shocker is the show's success. At the beginning, there were very few believers.
Conventional wisdom was that there wasn't a chance in hell that this was going to work.
From the word go, you know, everybody was kind of saying the show's too weird, nobody wants to see science fiction, it's on at 8 o'clock, it's too scary, there's too many characters.
The story of how Lost blossomed from its shaky roots begins in another palm-shadowed, isolated, and mysterious locale, Hollywood.
The phone call came from Lloyd Braun, who at the time was head of ABC, and he called to say that, you know, he wanted to do a show about people who survived a plane crash and land on this island.
Did you think, what? Or did you think, intriguing?
The way I'd want to approach a story would require sort of a slightly more genre, touch of sci-fi, touch of sort of horror, you know, which I didn't think that they would go for, but he said that in a week he needed to be able to greenlight this show to be made into a pilot.
Lost was rushed through production at unheard of speed. Making the pilot was a high-wire, high-stakes gamble, and one of the most expensive in television history. Casting director April Webster.
It was very fast. We had very little time.
You needed to fill 14 roles, major roles,
Right.
quickly.
I mean, it was towards sort of the end of the pilot season, so a lot of people had already been kind of snatched up.
Chaotic as it was, they knew any hope for success depended on finding the right cast.
This was sort of, you know, this crazy sort of catch-as-catch-can situation where we were writing the story as we were meeting people who would inspire the story. And I saw Jorge Garcia in Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Create the illusion that we're friends talking here, all right?
We brought him in, you know, the next day. We're like, okay, done. You know,
You're basically casting people you like.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And he was the first one we hired, was Jorge. And Terry O'Quinn.
Terry O'Quinn had starred in the horror classic The Stepfather, playing a serial killer who slides easily from one identity to another. That adds an eerie echo to his role as the enigmatic John Locke.
We just were sort of putting together, you know, this group of actors.
Harold Perrineau caught their eye.
Up for parole in 5.
He'd been on stage and in the series Oz.
The first call was like, J.J. Abrams, you know, he created Alias and Felicity. He loves your work. We really wants to meet you for the show. And my first thought was blah, 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 like Hollywood speak. They love you, you're great. And so, like, I just didn't pay any attention until, you know, the day I walked into the room and they were like, Harold! And they really were, like, not like gushing fans, but total, like, we love you, we want you to come and do this thing. Suddenly, like, I was, you know, 2 feet taller, and it's like, yes, I'm great, that's right, you're right. Sure, we should be in business together. Right? Do you know what I mean?
They also wanted to do business with Yun Jin Kim, who read for the female lead. We spoke with her and other cast members at their jungle location in Hawaii.
Were you, when you heard the premise of the show, what did you think? Because a lot of people thought it was preposterous.
Either this is going to be the best, one of the best TV shows, or the worst. Something that people make fun of. Oh yeah, we're sort of like the survivors. No, we're Gillian Islands. I mean, it's just, you know, but I thought that this was something very, very special.
Korean-born Yun Jin Kim didn't get the role she read for, but she did inspire the writers to create 2 more characters.
It's an international flight. We thought we want a couple who doesn't speak English. So it was a little nuts how we suddenly had, I think, twice as many regulars as they said we were allowed.
Upping the risk factor, several key roles went to young actors who were still relatively new to the business. Emily DeRaven, Ian Somerhalder, and Maggie Grace.
We are fortunate enough to have a beautiful cast.
Lost executive producer Brian Burke says the youth and beauty of their casting choices set off lots of jokes, one from a friend in the business.
He says, so let me get this straight. There's a plane crash and everyone dies except for the UCLA volleyball team?
Ow! Son of a bitch! What the hell are you doing?
The cast's fresh faces were balanced by some who'd been Hollywood hardened. Josh Holloway says he struggled for 8 years without getting an acting break. He was ready to give up.
I felt like I was just this like souped up car parked in a garage, you know, and nobody wanted to drive it. So I'm like, come on, let me out of the gate.
Were you gonna quit?
Oh yeah.
That was it.
Done. I just got my real estate license, and I had a conversation with my fiance, wife now, and I asked her if she would still be with me if I was a forest ranger.
Holloway says he poured his own anger and frustration into the character of Sawyer, the show's tender tough guy, or tough tender guy.
Girls love a messed up guy, you know, who's tough and man's man, but somewhere in there he's got a heart.
Sawyer, right behind you, jackass.
Sawyer's bad boy plays off heroic Dr. Jack Shepard, who becomes the leader of the lost flock. That role went to seasoned actor Matthew Fox.
This idea of a bunch of people being in the middle of an environment in which all the rules of society are taken away is something that's really fascinating to me, so I was really into it.
Producers had their male lead, but pressure mounted as the time for location filming closed in, and there was still no leading lady. Until the producers saw a woman who had done some missionary work in the Philippines and some modeling in Canada.
A year ago, I was driving a beat up, rusted out old Toyota Corolla with the back window busted out and covered in duct tape and pouring rain. I was driving to university, working a serving job, doing extra work on film sets, you know, hanging out in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Evangeline Lilly beat out hundreds of candidates for the role. Producers liked the video she sent, and something clicked at her first encounter with show creator J.J. Abrams.
My first meeting with him, we got into a conversation about how I love to climb trees, and then I kind of got wind of the notion that Kate's character is going to have a fairly high-profile role.
You had very little acting experience prior to this.
Yeah, I had none. I had never had a speaking role on film and television before. So I was terrified.
They were all scared, for good reason. By most predictions, they were on a flight through the dark heaven's gate to failure and oblivion. But they landed in a magical place, a world of popular appeal and critical acclaim.
We're trying to sort of just do the best job we can and hope people keep watching.
So where are they?
What's the secret behind this long-shot success? The cast has some theories on that, and on some of the island secrets, sure to surprise you.